Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Open Late. I am Adam, and today I am opening these two beauties. Today I've got Zarana and Dusty from the latest wave of the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified series, and I'm pretty excited to get these. Zarana is just awesome because I'm really excited to get more female characters in the line as the father of two young daughters. I just love getting more female characters. It gets my daughters more involved in my toys, but it also, it's just kind of fun to have the opportunity for them to sort of find characters that they can relate to a little bit more. And then Dusty is just a really, really cool deco. He's not a character that I absolutely loved. Um, I don't know why. It just didn't there's something about him that just didn't land for me. I think it's sort of along the lines of the same reason that I don't absolutely love, characters like Snow Job and Iceberg. Um, the really specialized ones, I just never connected with in a weird way. Which is weird because it being like minus 24 degrees outside, and plenty of snow, you'd think that the snow ones would work for me. And then Kelowna is actually semi-desert, if you can believe that. So we go from minus 24 today to like 40 degrees in the summer. And for anybody that's doing Fahrenheit, I think it was about -8. I think that's about -8 today, maybe a little bit colder, all the way up to about 104 in the summers. So there's quite a swing. But for whatever reason, as a kid, and still now, the snow and sand characters just never quite landed for me. I don't know. I don't know why, but. Master Versal's here, and he says, "Oh well, here it's been rather hot all day." Yeah, well, I guess that's it will be weird though to have Christmas in the summer, which is, believe it or not, Master Versal, I actually lived with a couple Kiwis for a couple of years. Um they're actually from Devonport, and I haven't seen them in a while, but I talk to them pretty regularly still. So we would talk. They'd tell me about Christmas Day at the beach and stuff like that, which was just like, that just kind of blew my mind. Master Person, not too bad though. You know what? I'd take a hot day over a cold day, that's for sure. And Sam Rock is here as well. What's going on, Sam? But without further ado, enough about the weather south of the equator. Let's get into these figures. So, as I am really, really excited about Zarana, and she's one of my more favorite and sort of more highly anticipated characters, I'm going to open her second. First, I'm going to start with Dusty, the desert specialist. So a very different style of art here. It almost is sort of like a watercolored type of art, that carries around to the front. These two couldn't be sort of more different in terms of the art styles, but regardless, I love what Classified is doing with the art. I love that every one of these boxes is unique. They're using different artists. I understand the people that are a little bit that maybe don't like that don't absolutely love that it's different for everybody, because there's less continuity, and if you're a completist, you might like order and sort of patterns and stuff like that. But I love it. I mean, I think the art looks great. The Classified boxes I'm keeping because of the unique art. I've actually got a whole shelf with them where they have the art facing out. When it was, when the line was in its infancy, the numbers faced out so that I could make sure that I had everybody. But now that I've decided to kind of pass on a couple, and I'm not worried about the numbers as much, now the art is facing out. Then on the back of the box, we get the newest version of the montage or the mosaic. So we've got sort of all the figures that have come out more or less on here. The mysterious figure sort of in the center here. Everybody's speculating who that might be, who that might not be, so on and so forth. Now we do get a bunch of vehicles, and we got these from the start, from the first wave. They were showing vehicles. We got you know, Joe vehicles up here and Cobra vehicles up here, and then, you know, some Joe stuff down here. I still strongly believe that we will get more vehicles. I'm convinced that the his tank really proved to Hasbro that vehicles for this line are totally viable. Now, do I think we're going to get a Night Raven like they have on the box here? No. Do I think we're going to get a Sky Striker? No. Do I think we could get a, you know, a Dragonfly or you know, something of that size in the air, and then a Vamp or an Awe Striker or something like that, medium-sized vehicle for the land? Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Like I said, I think the His Tank proved that that there's a demand for it. So then on the other side, we get Dusty's file card, as it were. I'm still, these are kind of cool and kind of fun, but I would still love a file card. So that's his sort of main. I don't know what any of these are. I don't ever bother looking them up, but they're cool and I like them. And yeah, he's just a good looking figure. Let's get him out of the box. Austin's here. He says, I made it. Got my hands on Zarana, and she's a great figure. I've had this for a few days, and I've just been putting it off to do the live unboxing. I can't wait to get her out of the box. I've heard amazing things about her, that the articulation is great. Possibly Hasbro's best 6-inch scaled female figure that they've ever done. Not my words, somebody else's. Master Versal says, you need a bit of snow at Christmas, but nowadays we do not see the old snowy Christmas anymore. Yeah, fair enough. That's we have a lot of Christmas mornings that don't have enough snow, but yeah, he does look like Lawrence of Arabia, doesn't he? He's kind of got that that look about him with the sun hat and so forth. Yeah, absolutely. Now, these are standard, so I'm not going to bother talking too much about the inside of the packaging, as I did with some of the others. There he is in sort of all his glory on his you know, his card, his bubble. I don't know what you want to call it. But we got the figure, the backpack, the hat, the 2 sets of goggles, a dagger, a clip for the rifle there as well. So let's get this guy out. As I always do, I'm going to start with the accessories, and I'm going to stop talking for a minute so I can do this quickly and get through the noisy bit. Stand there like that. So I wanted to be careful with this because it does have the tripod on it, and if you collected vintage GI Joes at all, you know that the tripod on the vintage one is like 2/3 of the value of the whole vintage Dusty figure. So I was worried that it would fall off or that I would break it or something like that, just with the thought of the vintage figures tripod in the back of my head. But anyway, Austin says new SAMR channel idea, toy opening. Yeah, I mean it's I've learned to be pretty quiet with it because I usually open toys after all my kids go to bed, so I do have to manage the amount of noise that I make when I open toys. But anyway. Facebook user says, I had one as a kid. Did he call me the beige Jeep back in the day, or is that my imagination? What? Oh, did he come with the beige Jeep, or is that your imagination? That is your imagination. He was a single carded figure. The beige Jeep that I assume you're talking about is the Vamp Mark II. And the Vamp Mark II came with a tan version of clutch. All right. All right. There he is, out of his plastic prison, as it were. Yeah, tan clutch came with the Vamp Mark II. He's basically just a tan version of the original clutch, and fairly prized as a vintage figure because not everybody had the Vamp, so not everybody got that clutch. But anyway. All right, very first impressions of this guy. He looks pretty good. He is, nicely decked out. The camouflage sort of application looks pretty good. It looks like some of these joints might give me trouble, and I say that because it looks like they're almost fused, like especially the thigh joint. He's definitely going to need a hot bath before I pose him up. But that's okay, as I give all of my classified figures, most of my figures, to be honest, not just classified, but a lot of my legends, my mythic legions, all that kind of stuff. A little bit of hot water goes a long way to sort of not damaging them. Now, this is a unique thing that I noticed right away when I popped him out. The bicep rotates on sort of a flat, there's like a flat bicep cut. A lot of them have sort of the bicep that wraps a little bit around the shoulder. His is unique in that it doesn't do that, and it looks a bit odd, and if it gets loose, you're going to see a gap there. It's not the end of the world, it's just something that I noticed, and I wonder why they might have done that. I always think when I get these new figures in hand, like what's the next figure that they're going to use this part for? So I think oftentimes something like that is probably because there's another figure that's going to have these parts, and maybe it will make sense when we sort of see that second figure. But like I said, these thighs are not going to move at all. I can guarantee that, and so I'm not going to force it at all. You can even see, I think, maybe you can see, if I get right up close and personal there, you can see that there's a bit of a gap there, and there's like no gap at all. And I think it might be, oh, sorry. I think it might be stuck. It'll free up with hot water. I've never had a joint on one of these that didn't free up with a little bit of hot water. His knee, again, same thing. It looks like it's kind of fused at the top. But hot water, it'll move no problem. Serpentor sort of had a similar thing going on. And what I'm noticing is that there's like shiny spots where I suspect maybe, whether it's glue or whether there's some sort of finish to get them out of the mold. I don't know. I mean, maybe these were rushed, because I've heard a lot of people have QC issues with her, and I'll get to that when I get there. But I wonder if there's something to the idea that maybe these were pushed through the factory. Maybe the QC, was a little bit neglected. I don't know. Remains to be seen. There's also a thing going on here where like this knee joint appears to be matte, and this knee joint appears to be like glossy. But again, it could just be that there's some sort of finish on it, which I think will be pretty easy to take off with, after the hot water bath. There's some acetone or something like that, just to tidy them up. And I don't mind doing that. Like I said, I'm on previous videos, I'm not a huge QC guy. I don't really care. This is a cool figure, and if he's got a couple little QC things that are like cosmetic, I don't really care. if the figure's designed well and you get a drop of paint somewhere that it shouldn't be, so be it. Anyway, that's Dusty. As I already sort of took a look at this, you know, we get what appears to be pretty close to his vintage weapon. You know, we get the tripod kind of reimagined, so it's on the top now. Should be harder to lose. The old one was on the bottom, and it would just, you know, drop off, and you'd lose it in the carpet or in the dirt or wherever. But I like that they included that. It would have been nice if these could sort of fold in a little bit, but whatever. Then we get the little magazine, and that's gonna go in here presumably. Now, am I gonna put it in the right way? It kind of looks, and this is definitely not gonna get picked up on the camera, but it kind of looks like there's a like one bullet, one round, sort of at the top of the clip, or I'm just imagining that. But either way, looks cool. So there it is with the is it a magazine or a clip? I don't know. I don't know anything about guns that I didn't learn from G.I. Joe. But anyway, it looks pretty good. It's it was always one of those guns that was a little bit more unique looking with the vintage figure, and I like that they sort of stuck pretty close to that vintage look for that. He gets this little dagger, which is very small. This is my only complaint about some of the daggers, is that, like, relative to the size of his hand, it's tiny. Like it's like a pen knife. Anyway, that's a nitpick for sure. Because to be honest, it's gonna be in his boot the whole time anyway. If I ever take this out, I'd be surprised. Which way does it go in better? And it does seem to go in better one way compared to the other. But anyway. Decent sized backpack, a unique backpack. I don't see anywhere that anything clips on it, which I'm a little bit disappointed about. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention. The other thing is I don't watch any reviews, so it could be that somebody's figured out sort of something that clips on or whatever. One thing that's cool. Okay, I noticed this and I just didn't mention it. One thing that's cool in the deco is that he has this little green hose here on the front, and then it sort of goes around to the back, and then it sort of goes into his backpack, you know, port there, which I think suggests that the hose connects to the backpack. Now, that is a hydration hose. So presumably somewhere in this backpack, there is a hydration bladder, meaning, you know, when he's out in the desert, he's got some water, which is a pretty pretty cool detail to add. I haven't heard anybody mention that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm some sort of expert. However, I sell bicycles and we sell a lot of hydration packs, which is why I noticed that. Yeah, Tyler, that backpack looks really beefy. It is really beefy. Like it's a lot of backpack. But I mean, if you're going to carry a backpack around, I mean, you may as well make it worthwhile. Tyler said the sound of releasing the figure from plastic is now dying off with plastic-free packaging. Yes, I suppose so. But now we have the sort of rustling of waxed paper to take its place, which I don't know if that's better or worse or just different. Anyway. Facebook users, I remember he had fabric on his helmet. He absolutely did. And actually, he's at hand. I have my figure right here. So this is what you're talking about. That fabric, that's sort of this cheap kind of, it's like velvety almost fabric. but just because I have them at hand, let's take a look. Just a quick comparison. Let's hold them at different distances to sort of get a similar scale. They look pretty good. I mean, like this guy looks pretty good. It's not the exact same color as this. I would have liked this guy to be a little bit more tan. There's a little bit more of like an I don't know how to describe it. There's a little bit more of an orange, I guess, maybe is the way to describe it. And I'm also a little bit disappointed that they didn't include his patch on his arm, which should have gone there. With other figures, they did. There's a patch on Spirit. He's also got what looks to be like a paratrooper patch there, I think. Forgive me if I am completely incorrect in that, and he doesn't have that on here. But that being said, he does have G.I. Joe. He does have his name sort of on his tag, which is sort of a callback to the two white patches that were on the vintage figure. I suspect, if I had to guess, I would say I suspect that the coloration on this is a little bit different than this because the skin tone to the figure was really, really close, whereas the skin tone to the figure on this is a little bit further off. So maybe that's the reason. If I had to speculate, I would say that could very well be the reason for the slight change in color from the vintage to the classified. Yeah. Hey, Dad's opening toys again. Let's go see. No, that's there. I'm lucky enough to have the design of our house is such that their rooms are completely on the opposite side of the house to where my office is, and that's not an accident. And in terms of the plastic free packaging, yeah, it's getting more of a dry sound with all that cardboard. It's important to keep up the fluids. Yes, absolutely. Then we have his helmet as well, which as was mentioned and as was sort of referenced with the vintage figure it had the fabric on it. It would have been cool to see that fabric. I don't know how feasible that would have been. This helmet looks pretty good. I mean, the color, the deco, the design looks pretty good, and they've used pretty soft plastic, so it's not going to be in the way in terms of when you put it on the head. Now, I will mention this and sort of try it. So a lot of people are sort of talking about how it sits. It doesn't really stay on his head. It's just kind of funky and just sits there. And I don't know why they would have done that. Why it's not sort of a nice snug fit. But the hack that I've heard is that because we get two pairs of these goggles, and we get two because one is smaller and one is bigger. One fits around his head. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So one fits on his head like that and like that. If I do this right, you can pop his helmet on, and then his helmet stays on fairly well with the goggles on. The other pair of goggles, I'll leave him there because we're going to need him again. The other pair of goggles is larger because it fits onto the helmet. And I'll have to monkey around with that to try to find the sweet spot. With the Viper, there's sort of a spot where if you get it on in the right spot, they don't go anywhere. They don't shift. They don't move around, which is really, really nice. But what I've seen and what I've heard and what I'm going to try right now, because these smaller ones fit underneath the helmet, what I've heard people do is sort of put the goggles on in a way that they're sort of high up on his forehead, so that when you put the helmet on with the goggles on, you're killing two birds with one stone, because you can store those goggles on the figure and his helmet stays on way better with those little goggles underneath the helmet. So there you go. And it works surprisingly well. It's not that surprising. I'm shocked that that hack kind of works as well as it does, and that maybe it was on purpose. I mean, I guess the helmet is designed to fit over those goggles when they're on him, so maybe that was sort of always intended. I don't know. Well, there you go, Tyler. You probably typed that before I even mentioned it. Another unboxing video had suggested if you put one set of goggles on his head, his helmet fits better. True? Yes, it is 100% true. As depicted right there. And then I love that they have trigger fingers, and I love that they're sort of designed to hold their weapons properly. But damn, some of them are fussy to sort of get the weapon in hand properly. Anytime they put, you know, the magazine or the clip or a strap or something on this, on the inside of the forearm, it almost inevitably and invariably creates some difficulty in getting them to hold their weapon. But anyway, his wasn't too bad at all. I can live with that. Moving on to Zarana. Well, I'm almost certain that it's you, Jay. So when you write stuff like that, it doesn't. Moving on to Zarana, very, very good looking figure. I, for one, absolutely love this sort of pop art style, this vibrant, bright art. It's a little more childish. It's a little more cartoon like. But I dig it, man. I'm into it. I don't have a problem with it. Kamakura was sort of the same thing, where it was you know, fun and dynamic looking. Not for everybody, but not all the art will be, because it's all different artists. You know, you can pick and choose the art that you like. And if you don't like the art, you can throw the box away because it's not the toy. The back has the same card back as Dusty does. Zarana is number 48. I should have mentioned that Dusty is number 49, if that's something that you care about. Legalese on the bottom. Her specialties on this side, which when Chris from the Full Force did an unboxing of this, he had some fun with these. Like, I can't remember what he said for all these, but like money bones and darts and extreme basketball and American Gladiator. Like, the pictures don't mean anything if you don't know like what they are, right? So you can just kind of make it up. Like I said, you can go and like look it up online, which is kind of fun. And I used to even kind of, like, with the first wave, when we were getting so few figures and I was just spending all my time on like the GI Joe website and stuff like that, I would look up what all these meant, and I would look up like so if it's like just the symbol, that's like level 1. When you get sort of these lines on the side, that's level 2. Level 3 is sort of the full, and then like the level 4, I think that turns into a cobra, like a cobra head. I'll leave that there. So with the GI Joe, it's a little bit different. You get the sort of symbol with nothing. You get the symbol with a couple things top and bottom, and then you get the fully decked out symbol. That's sort of like the expert level thing. It's cool. I dig the iconography. I like what they were trying to do with sort of a visual language, almost like a hieroglyphic, where the picture represents, you know, a concept, and you know, and then the way that, like I was saying, like whether it's just the shape or with the wings or whatever, like that they were differentiating people that were sort of masters versus people where that was like a random thing. I dig it, man. I get that they're selling these to a lot of different countries, and it's not going to be possible to put everything in every language. So, you know, by doing that, I think they were onto something. It just didn't land as well as I think they would have liked it to. She gets the Cobra symbol inside the box. Now, I've heard this said before, and I would agree with this. I would have very much liked to see the Dreadnought symbol in there. So far, Zartan is the only one that's gotten the Dreadnought symbol. I hope they bring it back for like Buzzer and Ripper and whatever other Dreadnoughts they've got coming down the line. I would love to see that Dreadnoughts come back, because it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more dynamic. And if I'm keeping all the boxes, I like them to be different. I got a mess of all the stuff that I've opened, all the boxes I haven't taken the time to clean up. Whoops. Austin says, I'll have to take a picture of my Zarana shortly. They knocked this figure out of the park. If this is the future of female characters, then I have high hopes for CoverGirl. I think CoverGirl is already popping up in some places, and I'm hearing good things about her. The female Cobra Troopers are coming out as well. So there's a couple more female figures coming. I haven't had this in hand yet. I mean, insofar as, you know, it's here, but it's still sort of in the plastic. So I can't wait to get her out of the plastic. I've heard a QC issue about her arms popping off, and I'm just going to very quickly check that once I get her out of the package. So bear with me. This is ASMR moment number 2. I will quickly get this all out. I should say semi-quickly, because I do keep these packages. I try not to mess with them too much. If you're wondering why I'm like pushing them back in, it's so that it's kind of neat and tidy when I put it away. This habit. I've just gotten in this habit and I can't kick it. This thing is wild. Oh no! She's lost her hair. Don't worry, it's designed to come off. All right, so, oh, that reminds me, I gotta grab something because I heard somebody mention today something that I hadn't heard before. And I'm grabbing one other thing because I thought of it as soon as I saw the figure come out of the package. So for the sake of comparisons, a couple cool details. We'll see if this works or not. But anyway, first impressions of the figure. She's stunning. I think the ball socket on here is not all the way in. As a result, there's like a gap sort of right there. But I've had that before, and it's as easy as heating this leg up and just shifting it back on a little bit better. And as I said with Dusty, I heat up all my figures before I kind of do much posing with them anyway. So I'm not worried about that. I've yet to have a figure that I couldn't sort of troubleshoot with hot water. So there's a texture to the jeans. There is a slight texture to the boot. There's, you know, the sort of texture to the under boot. She's got, you know, sculpt design there. You know, the jeans are cut out, and she's got the pink. She's got spurs, which is pretty cool. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Texture on the arms, you know, texture to the pink leather. All together, just a fantastic looking figure. I'm trying to figure out what the complaint was with their arm. Is it that if you lift this one up that it'll pop off? Maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what they were talking about, but I don't. I mean, this is par for the course as far as Hasbro 6-inch scaled female figures. And I'm just trying to go through the things that I've heard people mention, like tight joints on the shoulders. Mine's fine. The arms are in the right places and they seem to move fine. The thighs have a similar thing. Now, what I think it is, people were saying like maybe it's glue, maybe it's yada yada yada, just sort of speculating. What I think it is like I said, and this is just me speculating. I think the factories are trying to rush things out, and I think they're putting things in the boxes wet. So I think what it is that the paint wasn't completely cured, wasn't completely dried, and as a result, you put two not entirely dry pieces of paint together, they will stick. Now this is this gets me when you get it in the package and she's kind of, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. You can probably see it better from the back. The bottom part of her torso is kind of shifted that way. The top part of her torso is kind of shifted that way. So it looks kind of funky. Again, hot bath will fix that real quick. But she looks fantastic. She absolutely looks stunning. And as soon as I can sort of give her a hot bath, I will be able to pose her better. And then I will have like an even better impression of sort of what you can do with the figure. But you know, as it is now, I don't want to force anything. I don't want to break it. The design, the engineering, those double jointed elbows, she gets great range of motion for sure. That's, I think, probably better than any that I've seen so far. And you know, the double jointed knee, she's got the spur on, so you don't necessarily want her to be able to kick her own butt all the way. There's a boot swivel as well, which it's fine. Everything looks good. I mean, it's all the articulation. That was weird. Am I back up? Let me know in the comments. That was extremely weird. My phone just switched off, and my phone is what I use as my camera. So it was completely lost for a second there. It made a weird sound on my end too. So I hope, if this ends abruptly, It's because my phone's on fire or something. That was weird. That was super weird. I've never had that happen before. And hopefully I won't have that happen again. But Ken Poe is here. What's going on, Ken? Paused again? Is it working again? I'm still here. I'm not I wasn't sort of on the camera. I'll get my hands in front so that it doesn't look like I'm paused or frozen or whatever. But yeah, that was weird. That tripped me out because it made a weird sound. And when I looked down at the camera there, my screen was just blank, and it froze. It froze on my computer, which I'm watching it on, sort of over there as my reference point. So weird. Anyways, back to Zarana. She looks fantastic, absolutely stunning, great looking figure. We'll get into accessories and see where we get. So we get the backpack, which is just an unpainted solid brown backpack. Pretty nice, pretty cool. We also get this the heat dagger, I think is what they sort of called it. It has almost like a pistol look when you look at it from that angle, and a serrated blade. Mine's a little bit bent out of the box, but that same bath that's going to heat up those joints and free up those joints is going to straighten this blade out real quick. Now the blade can pop right into the backpack. Now I want to do it so that it sits the way it's supposed to. Go that way, or does it go the other way? Hold on. No, it's got to go that way. Very nice and snug. That's not coming out at all. And that's just going to peg right into the back. Like so. Then we get this small little kind of stiletto style knife. Very fine point. Interesting sort of shape to the handle though. It looks pretty good. We'll get that tucked into the sheath. Then, of course, we've got her no nonsense. She doesn't want to stand up, does she? There we go. She's got this very much no nonsense weapon here with a saw blade on the end, which the paint app's really, really nice and clean. Little bit of silver sort of just on the edge where it shouldn't be, but certainly not that big of a deal at all. Just a good size, good shape for me. And then we get the magazine, the clip. I don't know what it's actually called, but anyway, get that in there, and away you go. Pretty good looking little weapon there. Pop that in her hand. And like I said, because she has that double jointed elbow, we'll get that really good, nice sort of tight look with the weapon there. Looks good. We do get the alternate head, so this is sort of the I don't even know. I wouldn't say it's business in the front, party in the back. I'd say it's pretty well party in the front, party in the back as well, just with the color. They've done a good job with the deco with the paint app, and that looks really good. So you got sort of a different color on the sideburns versus sort of the top bit in the back as well. And then if you don't like that version, which is sort of a modern updated version, we also get this version here. And this is, I think of this as more of like almost like a rockabilly look, maybe a little bit more in line with the vintage Dreadnoks. It does remind me certainly of the vintage figure, the vintage Zarana figure. Now this is a really great fit. Takes a little bit just to get it on, to get it to sit just right. But that's a pretty good look. Like that's a pretty, I don't know. I'm torn. I don't know which one I like more. Oh man, because that looks so good. Do I need two of these now all of a sudden? And then do I dye a couple of the, make two characters? Oh, well, we'll see. We'll figure it out. But what I did here, and I don't know if this is true, but I'm going to try it because I happen to have Lady J's hairpiece right here. Somebody said that Lady J's hairpiece fits on pretty well. And I am going to respectfully disagree. It's you get it on one side okay, but then the other side looks funky. And if you get it on that side okay, the other side looks funky. I think they have different shaped heads. I don't think it works. I don't think it works. You could make it work. I'm sure you could make it work. But for now, I think I'm gonna go with the more modern one because I like that it's more modern. I like that it's different and original and sort of unique to this classified line. One other thing that I noticed, and I grabbed him just to compare. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but on her boots there is like a flame pattern on the toe. Which is shared with Zartan. So that would be cool if they if all the dreadnoks had like flame kind of design sculpted into the boots. I think that would be a cool nod. And if they didn't put the dreadnok sort of art in the box, but they did that, I would be okay with that. I certainly wouldn't be complaining that they weren't sort of dreadnok enough if they sort of shared something like that across the figures themselves. I'm trying to get her to stand up so I can sort of pose her here. There's just spare hair. How weird is it that we get spare hair with action figures now? 2022, man. What's the future gonna hold? Spare hair. All right, so they look pretty good. Those are both very, very good figures. Really fun. I don't like specialized figures, but you know, I'll make an exception for this guy. It's a great looking figure. Like I said, I'm not knocking it. Great looking figure, great accessories, and Zarana looks absolutely stunning. Definitely one of my favorites. I think I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna put it out there into the world. She's one of my favorite figures that Classified did in 2022. We of course have the Canadian GI Joe Classified Northern Outpost Facebook group, and we're currently doing a figure showdown. I didn't feel as strongly about Zarana as I do now, but I'm very happy that she's sort of still in the running for figure of the year because I would put her right up there with just about any other figure that was sort of in the running for me personally. She looks absolutely stunning and is arguably more interesting once you get her in hand than just seeing the deco in a box. So Master Versal says, yes, I think my hand must have hit the old space bar on the keyboard the second time. Oh, because you said, oh, I see. You said that I was paused, but it turns out that you had just hit your keyboard and paused the keyboard for yourself. That's because I was worried that it wasn't working. Anyway, all right, guys, that's these two figures, and both really, really great figures. Of the two, I would say that Zarana is by far my favorite. But that being said, Dusty's a great figure. I could see people buying multiples of Dusty as well and swapping the heads and having sort of like a desert task force or sort of, you know, a group of desert kitted troopers. That's what I'm intending to do with Snow Job. And who knows, I may do that with Dusty as well. Brick something's just joined. What's going on, my friend? Love Zarana's hair. Whose is better, Zarana or Longshot? Zarana. I gotta give it to Zarana for sure. For a couple of reasons. One of them, the hair is swappable, which is just a really cool feature. Um, and you can put, different hair on there. But the sculpt as well, like this one's just a little bit more fun. If you just joined, I'll just jump back and show you. Like she has sort of a like an undercut sort of side where it's one color, then the top is sort of another color where it's parted, and then the back is a different color. Like it's just stunning. Like it's just a really, really cool, well done figure. Um, no complaints whatsoever about her, apart from, as I said, the issue that both of them sort of suffer from, which is that I think some of the paint might not have been entirely dry, and so the joints are a little bit stiff. But as I said, a hot bath will fix that, no problem at all. Master Versal says, great stream there, Adam, sir, and season's greetings to you and your family there, and have a happy holidays, and yes, good journey. Good journey to you too, my friend. Great feature. Yeah, it really is. Excellent head sculpt on Zarana. It's really good. And as we were sort of chatting a little bit earlier in the stream here, if this is anything to go by, Cover Girl and the female Cobra officer and stuff like that should be absolutely fantastic figures. The GI Joe guys are doing a really great job of getting the female figures to work really well. The sculpts are great, but the engineering and the articulation is fantastic for female figures. Female figures always seem to get neglected in terms of articulation, functionality. Marvel Legends is notoriously bad for having single jointed elbows and single jointed knees, whereas like every male Marvel Legends figure has double jointed elbows and knees, pinned or otherwise. But yeah, absolutely, just a beautiful figure, stunning figure for sure, and one that I would strongly recommend. But who am I kidding? If you're collecting classified, I don't think there's any way that you passed on Zarana. And I don't know of many people that passed on Dusty either. So it's I'm singing to the choir, I think, in some respects. But anyway, that's these two figures. They look fantastic. Go out and get them yourself. I got these from eCollectibles.ca. Mike is always great at making sure that I get these figures as quickly as he can get them to me. I'm not always the first person to get them, but I usually get them in a pretty timely fashion. So I'm very, very happy with my service from Mike at eCollectibles, and I would highly recommend him as well. But yeah, on that note, thank you guys for joining me. I will be doing another video tomorrow. I will, if you're sort of paying attention, if you're following along, if you follow me on Instagram, I'll probably post again which one should I open, and give two options. Tonight, the majority picked classified, but I've got plenty of figures to open, so it won't be classified figures tomorrow. It will be very likely either Mythic Legions or some more Marvel Legends, or those SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball figures, but we will cross that bridge when we get there. I'm going to do videos until I've kind of run out of figures to open, so hopefully you guys can join me for a few more of these videos, because it's always more fun to play with your toys with friends. And on that note, I will thank you again for joining me, and hope that you will come back again. And if you're watching for the first time, hit that like button. Please subscribe and hit the notification button. I typically go on at the same time, but the notification will just give you an update and a quick reminder when you pop on a Facebook that I will be going live and stumbling through another one of these reviews. But if you can't join me again, you know, before now, from now until Christmas Day, as I said, I am doing a Christmas Day stream as well, which will have some giveaways. And the details of that you can find in another video on the channel here. You'll just have to find the video that you got a comment on to be entered into the draw. So go ahead and do that. And we'll see you guys all again very, very soon. Thank you. And goodbye.